My friend, let us dive into Dream Home 2010, directed by Pang Ho Shun. Chang Lu Shun is a young, upwardly mobile professional finally ready to invest in her first home, but when the deal falls through, she is forced to keep her dreams alive, even if it means keeping her would-be neighbors dead. Which makes this movie not sound quite as deep as I think it is. This is one I'd never heard of. I never heard of it like spoken about it on any list. And when I asked you, like, hey, what are some of your favorite foreign horror movies? It was number one. It was the first one you put up there. And I'm like, I Googled it. I'm like, Hong Kong slasher. Very interested in that. But one of the little fun facts that I picked up, this might be something that a lot of people are like, yeah, Vern, where the fuck have you been? This is how it is in China. I didn't realize like the rules and regulations that China had in place, like since like the 1930s, that you can't have supernatural elements in your films without Scooby doing it at the end.
The snow beast was a mechanical monster.
Which is why like Hong Kong slasher game is so strong. That's what we get in this. We get, I would say, a thematically rich slasher movie that's a character study with fire fucking kills and great cinematography, solid acting, and it's just fun. It's just a fun movie that does make you think, and it does have something to say, but it gives you like the everything that you want in a slasher movie. The kills are top notch. So I thank you for introducing this to me, and I hope people out there like that are watching this, if you haven't seen this, seek it out. It's not streaming anywhere at this moment for free, but it is on YouTube. I bought it for $13, and I'm glad I did. So when did you come across this, and how was the rewatch, dude?
I must have come across it around the same time I came across Funny Games, just Googling like horrifying movies, because I think I remember somebody posted the opening scene when she kills the security guard on some forum with like disturbing kills or whatever that I was Googling in my edgy days. And I just was like so impressed with the scene. I was like, wait, that was actually like really good filmmaking on top of being like super violent and disturbing. So I clearly got to look this movie up. And I don't even think they posted the clip with a title, so I actually had to go ask Iran, hey, do you know what this movie is?
Which is an awkward, hey, you know the...
Hey, watch this horrifying scene with like terrifying, gory violence and tell me do you know what movie it is? But yeah, eventually I found out where it was. And I can't remember how I watched it the first time, but I think it's occasionally streaming. I think it was on Shudder at the time.
It was. If you Google it right now, it says it's on AMC Plus and Shudder. Probably Shudder. Yeah. It shows up for both. It's not. I sent AMC Plus a stern email asking them why it wasn't on there.
Right. But like, bring this movie back. Let me watch it.
Yeah,
but,
for real.
I was just kind of blown away because it is so much more violent than you would expect, because you know it's way more extreme than a lot of slashers. But and then it's just also like really smart and thematically rich, and it's very you really feel for the character even though she's insane by the end, and like crazy. Somehow they've managed to do all that, and like it's a kind of like a whole life story, because you see her when she's very young as a kid, and why she wants this Bayview building and who instilled that desire in her, and like it just keeps going from there, and it's so well done. And
you don't expect that either. After they're showing you like the deaths that they're showing, and then they do this like nice flashback to this cute little kid, you're like, oh, this is what I'm getting into. It's super unique for a slasher movie in that way.
Yeah. It really does take you by surprise. You never see it, you know, you've never really see it unless you're counting like Rob Zombie's Halloween remake.
Dude, that's fucking crazy that you brought that up. I was gonna bring that exact movie up to you.
That's hilarious.
And I like that movie a little bit more than a lot of people. I'm not a fucking like diehard, but I guess I'll just ask you now. Like, I was comparing these two movies. One of the criticisms that I saw about this film, that I didn't look too deep into it, I was just reading the Wikipedia, and it was like reception. In that, it was said there's some reviews that pretty much have a problem with like the mixing tones, I guess you'd say, like the drama parts and the flashback and all that, with the over-the-top kills that we would get in pretty much like an 80s slasher movie, or like a Terrifier movie almost. To me, that's one of the things I love about the movie. But like, okay, if you look at Rob Zombie's Halloween, it has that like where it's like there's part of the story or the whole story is like drama. You know what I mean? It's not, there isn't the creative slasher kills in it. He goes for a more brutal like realism when it comes to the kills. but I like the mixing of the tones here, where there's realism in the one section, and then it goes for crazy over the top, like suspension of belief fucking kills. And the other moment where dicks are flying around the room and things like that. So it's like, I don't know. I really appreciated that. But what do you think of like those two mixing tones? Do you have any issue like that or no?
No, I think it works really well with this film. And I think part of that is because the main character, Lee Sung, is so well written and the actress plays her so well. Like and you really kind of want to see her succeed, not necessarily in killing everyone in the building, but
Right.
you know, even though it's interlaced and you know they're showing her killing everyone in the building at the same time they're showing what led up to this moment.
Right.
You still kind of hope in the back of your head that she's gonna get the building and like that all the killing was just like her fantasizing or something like, oh, just kidding.
Right.
I mean, that would be a shitty movie. Like, oh, it was just a dream. Like, what?
Yeah, but still, like
but that's kind of what you hope for. You want her to get the offer. You want her to get the apartment that she's trying to get. You know,
it's the same thing where it's like they put you on the side of her and you have to keep questioning yourself like, damn, why am I rooting for her to kill these mostly innocent people? Like
Yeah.
a lot of them, like they do show them doing like shitty things so that we can at least get on the side a little bit, like slasher movie version, although these people deserve to die.
Yeah, the party guys, yeah.
Yeah, they're like, you know, touching this
Little
girl while
coke in her
she's
nose.
sleeping. Yeah, to me, don't get me wrong. I'm not saying that was a. It's weird when you say, "Oh, that was one of my favorite moments" when you're talking about something like that. But that was an interesting thing to do. It's like, oh, this girl's passed out. We want to have sex with her while she's sleeping. And they blow coke up her nose to wake her up. It's like, oh my God,
insane,
so disgusting. There's 12 amazing kills in this movie. I wrote them all down. I think all of them are pretty fucking awesome. But what are your just thoughts, like if you have a favorite or just the way that the violence is handled in the film?
My favorite kill,
Again,
I think
favorite.
the one that disturbed me the most, I think, has to be the lady who is pregnant and she like falls on her stomach, starts like bleeding out of her legs and from between her legs, and then she gets vacuum sealed to death. That one really is very disturbing to me.
Dude, there's no workaround on how I can't figure out how they did that without her having to be out of oxygen for about 30. She's got her hands tied behind her back, her legs tied up, and they are vacuum sealing her fucking head. She can't breathe. I can't think of a way
unless it's like a really good mannequin that they have the thing over, like a really realistic mannequin that they are puppeting to like writhe around. But I don't know, it's too realistic.
Yeah,
it's very
you see her eyes and she you know what I mean? It's an amazing performance. I don't know. I would really love to know how they did that.
So disturbing. Yeah, they did really good. I mean, all the special effects look really good. The guts hanging out of that one guy,
fucking awesome.
The director is so nasty.
My favorite there is when she's trying to, at the end, she's trying to get the gun in his mouth. He's still sitting there with his guts out. He won't open his mouth, so she reaches down and grabs his guts. And
yeah, it's so awful. And like, it cracks me up. It's like this super morbid little bit of comedy when he's like, before that happens, when he's like sitting and she's gone to kill somebody else in the bedroom, and he's like, he brings the joint up to his lips and it has gone out, and he's like, shit, it's out.
you know what I thought they were gonna do? I thought they were gonna have him like take a hit and then the smoke come out of his stomach. That might have been a little bit too comical for him.
I mean, I don't know how he's inhaling with his
that's not the same thing.
Torso open up, you know. I mean, I
how
guess
is he alive?
Still intact. Yeah,
he's alive for like 15 minutes.
It's crazy. Yeah, it's crazy. He should be dead. It's wild.
Another one that's, and again, like even just describing some of these, I should throw a trigger warning out there for some people. But there's one where two people are having consensual sex, doing doggy style, and she cuts the guy. First of all, the way she's just stabbing him through the back, that was already, I was sold. That was an awesome kill.
Just right like, as he's orgasming too. So it's like, she doesn't even notice because the screams just sound like.
She chops his dick off, blood squirts all over the back of this young woman, and she says, "Oh, that was a lot." You're like, "Oh God." It really is. And then she takes and throws the dick on the pillow next to the girl. Now, while I'm saying that, like, I guess I could say what we end up finding out is basically the reason I honestly didn't fully put it together. I thought she had snapped and she was killing these people. I didn't get like what we're going to learn at the end of the movie. Spoiler alert, is that she's been killing the people in the building in order to get the price down so that she can move in there. And it's like, okay, that's understandable. And everything that we see happening to her, where it's like all these financial things, it's pretty much really, again, similar to Parasite, where it's like, look what happens to people when you put the pressure on them. This is, when people do bad things, they're not necessarily always bad people, and it might have been other outside pressures that made them that way. I don't fully buy that the character that we see in the dramatic parts of the movie would do the things that she does in the kills, because it's one thing. It's like, oh, I'm just going to go and kill these people and make it look like they were murderers and get the price down. She's enjoying it a little bit too much. She doesn't have to kill them in like the really mean spirited ways that she does. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I mean, she does go all out. It's almost like her, like, just like, I'm so pissed at you because you can afford this building. Like, fuck you. Like, I got to take it on you. Like, it's so wild. But yeah, I mean, like, I think I wouldn't believe it if it weren't for the fact that like right before that night happened, like she literally like watched her father die and didn't help him. And like, I think that just kind of like solidified how demented she was at that point, and that she was gonna get this flat no matter what.
I love the way that they show that, where I think he says in a scene before that, just let me die or whatever. But at the time, he does not want to die. He's sitting there and he can't breathe. And the way, like, what they show us on camera is him reaching out and grabbing her shirt while she's sitting on the bed. The way she grabs her shirt and rips it out of his hand and just kind of turns away from him is so, like, I don't know. It's just such a great way of showing the decision that she's made. Speaking of the look, dude, just like in general, it's like a grungy movie, but it doesn't look grungy. It's like beautifully shot. It's got like a sheen to it. It's colorful, like the color palette of it. But what do you think of just like the direction, the cinematography, the look of the film?
I love it. I think it has a very sleek look to it. It's very like what you said, like the color palette, they really just were using all the colors. There's like, I feel like it has kind of like a greenish look to it. And there's like also one shot that really stands out to me when she's on the bus with her friends and they're all talking about how they want to go to Japan for like a vacation. And they're like, use some money. You saved up some money, right? And she goes, no, I'm saving up for a flat. I can't do that. And the shot of the bus going down the bridge is like a weird tilt shifted shot. So it looks like a toy set almost.
That's funny,
like,
dude.
It's so interesting.
My wife had sent me something recently where it was like a whole thing of that, where they looked like toys, but like, this is real life, but it looks like a toy.
Yeah.
What it is, like, okay, they keep on going to these landscape shots where they're showing these buildings, and normally you don't see like there's like a depth of field, like a shallow depth of field. For I know you know what I'm talking about. For people that don't, like, there's you can set your camera settings to where there's more in focus and less in focus. And usually with a landscape shot, you're setting it to where everything's in focus. And the way that they shallow the depth of field makes it look fucking weird and like a toy. And on that specific shot, like it's blurred out here and here, but when the bus goes through the clear spot, it makes it look like a toy for some reason.
Yeah. It's just, because when you film miniatures super close up like that, you do have like the shallow depth of field just naturally, because you're super close to something. But like, in order to do something far away, they have like the special lens that like actually like tilts.
Think of it like that. That is it.
And
yeah.
And that's what makes everything kind of look like a toy. It's so weird. And I think that's one of the only shots in the movie that's like that. But it's like, it always stood out to me, and I was like, what is it trying to say?
There's other ones where they're doing it with just the buildings, where it's not like there's not like, it doesn't look like a toy because there's not like cars going through it. I was taking it as a way to show her like distorted view of the world. And like, you remember at the point, like after basically the moment that she snaps and she finds out she's not going to be able to get the house, there's a shot of her outside and it's just her in focus and everything else is super blurred out. And it's just like to be like disorienting or whatever. There's another shot that for whatever reason really, really stands out to me. So interestingly done. It's from outside of the apartment building and the light's on. So you're seeing in the apartment building, and then the light goes off and spam. It's just cityscape that you see in the window. And then she enters the view of the window. And there's something so cool about like those three elements coming together. And it really is like reflective of her like view of the city in such a strange way. I guess we've hit on a lot of what I wanted to talk about, like story structure and theme wise, but did you have anything? I mean, I guess it is pretty clear, like what they're talking about. It's gentrification. They're talking about the healthcare industry, all things that we can really relate to. But did you have anything you want to add? Just that whole section of the story, the writing, the structure, all that.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's brilliant. I think it's a really like impactful satire because it just has that like
Mm,
that bite to it. It's very biting, and it's also just incredibly graphic and violent, which
right.
makes it a lot of fun for, you know, horror hounds. The ending really blew me away. Like it's just such a mean ending because like
Hmm.
first off, she's like moving all her stuff in, and her bed doesn't even fit in the room.
I know. I know. What is up with
And then
that?
she's listening to the radio, and it's all like, "Oh, the housing crisis that happened in America is now spreading global, and market
Right.
prices are dropping everywhere." And it's like, if you just waited a week, you could
I
have afforded
know.
that.
I know.
It's just like so crazy.
Yeah, man. I guess it's like what I said. Like most slasher movies, especially I guess there's different kinds of slasher movies. There's the character study ones, like this one, like American Psycho, like May from 2002. Have you ever seen that?
I haven't.
You got to
I need
watch
to
it.
see May. Yeah.
I think you would like it, man. I mean, they're obviously they're going to be more thematically rich than your typical supernatural Freddy slasher. They're not getting in, too deep of the themes of the child play franchise. But the character study ones, this is the area of the slasher world where you can get a little bit deeper with it. Just like looking at the list of kills here, couple worth fucking pointing out. The eyeball one. Love a good
Oh,
eyeball kill. Fulci would have been proud of this one. It's a creative way to do it. There's two parts to it. The way that they pop out the eyeball through the back of the head, fucking awesome. It looks so good. But later on, when the guy comes into the apartment and steps on
oh,
the way
so
he steps on
gross.
the eye, both when the eye explodes and the way that it looks on the bottom of his shoe, is just
Disgusting.
so fucking perfect. And like, I don't know, it's comical to me. Um, the guy gets the bong in the neck. I like that. Like the bong in the neck is
Yeah.
cool, but then the way that it starts filling up with the blood afterwards is badass. The board through the mouth. The cheating husband gets the broken neck. I guess we've pretty much touched. Oh, the guy that gets the guts gets the fingers chopped off, and the
Yeah.
way that they slide across and knock the record off the record player or the needle off
That
the record.
That scene is there's so many things happening in that scene. I can't imagine the planning it would have taken to film that because oh my goodness, it's an insane scene.
All right, so let's go ahead and get up out this bitch. Give me your final thoughts and your rating on Dream Home 2010.
4 out of 5, easily. I love this movie. I think it's brilliant. I think it's well made. I think it's got great satire, which is so rare these days.
Mhm.
It's a fantastic. You know what? 4.5 out of 5.
I love it. I love it,
Yeah.
man. I really it's weird because you can't, can you compare certain things to other things? Is I kind of I respect funny games more,
Yeah.
right? But
Yeah.
as far if you're comparing slashers to slashers, this is one of, like I said, like one of the
Yeah.
best, some of the best kills and some of the best themes, not just in character study slashers, but any fucking slasher ever. So
Yeah.
I think I'm right there with you, man. If a 4.5 for both of them, for Funny Games and Dream Home, just like super fucking recommendable movies to the right people. To,
Yeah.
to the to the
Absolutely.
wrong people, neither of these are at all
Yeah.
recommendable. So
You may never see that person again if you
yeah.
recommend either of these to the wrong person.